part of it is probably, is surely better prudential regulation of individual institutions. And as one looks at the stories of what has happened, in some cases, the choices that individual institutions made are sort of stunningness, almost stunning in their insensitivity to risk, and one wonders whether that shouldn't or couldn't have been monitored and watched more closely. But I think the deeper imperative, and the imperative that has less fully run through our thinking about financial regulation, is what I would call regulation for systemic stability, that recognizes that what we ultimately care about in this is not the shareholders and the employees of one particular financial institution, but what we ultimately care about is what's going to happen to the big real economy, the stuff that's captured in my high unemployment rate and in Bob's trillions of dollars of losses. And thinking about systemic stability, here are some examples of the things you think about if you're focused on that. What kind of clearinghouse are we going to have so that problems in one institution don't become problems throughout the system? We've learned something important.
A clearinghouse, an old clearinghouse example might be something like
the stock exchange is an old clearinghouse example. But
okay.
If you look at, I mean,
but as a
the stock market would have worked less well over time if you traded stock with one other person and you just had to rely on that one person being creditworthy and delivering the stock. Clearinghouses are one example. Second example, which involves a variety of sort of legal and technical issues, is making the system safe for failure. Lehman Brothers wasn't the biggest financial institution in the country. It wasn't one of the 5 biggest financial institutions in the country. And yet, its failure has been followed by cataclysmic consequences. Can't we find a way to enable an institution to fail and the various interconnections be contained in such a way that that failure doesn't have the kind of systemic consequences that we've seen? That's important for the system. It's also important for the institutions to be part of finding that, because if we can't find such things and we have a system that's completely unable to handle failure, that's going to be a system where we're going to have to take risk down an enormous extent, and that will in turn have a set of consequences for the dynamism of our economy.